Understand? That's my policy.
Yeah, well, when an adult male is chasing a female with intent to commit rape, I shoot the bastard. That's my policy.
Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome back to Backtrack Cinema. In this video, we're going to be looking at the 1971 Clint Eastwood classic, Dirty Harry. Easily one of his most iconic films, so get some popcorn, get comfy, get yourself a drink, and let's talk some Dirty Harry. Go ahead, make my day. So Dirty Harry was released in 1971, directed by Don Siegel and starring Clint Eastwood, Andrew Robinson, and Harry Gardino. Hey everyone, welcome back to Backtrack Cinema. My name is Jason, and this is where we talk movies from the past that you love and that you want to see. And before we get to the Dirty Harry review, let me know in the comments below if you've seen Dirty Harry, what you think of this review. We'll have a good discussion in the comments of Dirty Harry, and we'll have a blast talking about this movie, man. So Dirty Harry was a first-time watch for me, guys. This is a movie I didn't grow up with. I grew up with a lot of Clint Eastwood, but for some reason, I never got around to the Dirty Harry movies. So this is a start of a new series, The Death Done Dirty, where we're going to go through all the Dirty Harry movies and all the Death Wish movies, and we're going to be doing rankings of these films. So this is going to be a lot of fun, man. So you definitely want to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss all the great content coming up. Now, in saying that, the reputation this movie has and how it's been etched into our own pop culture, and I think we all know the line of "Go ahead, make my day," and "You feel lucky, punk." We all know that scene. Even if you haven't seen this movie, we know that. We know who Harry Callahan is. I think we've all heard of this character. He's an iconic character, absolutely, for sure. And going back and watching this for the first time, there are so many other movies I see where they drew the inspiration from. This is one of the first cop and robbers kind of movie, crime thriller kind of movies. Definitely set the action film, what we know as the action film. This is one of the early pioneers of it. I could see the imprints of this movie on Lethal Weapon. I could see it on Cobra.
This is where the law stops, and I start.
And in fact, Shane Black said when he wrote Lethal Weapon, Dirty Harry was the template of that. I mean, the building scene where Martin Riggs takes the suicide jumper off the building. Going back watching Dirty Harry, there's an almost exact same scene where Dirty Harry's got to talk someone down. He kind of like knocks them out. It is such a cool scene, and in fact, I think Clint Eastwood actually directed that one scene too. So when a madman calling himself the Scorpio Killer menaces the city, tough as nails, San Francisco police inspector Dirty Harry Callahan is assigned to track down and ferret out the crazed psychopath. We got a really good story of a no-nonsense, tough as nails cop with Harry Callahan, played by Clint Eastwood, to take out this killer who's going on rooftops and sniping people. And the movie's really telling this story of the blurred line of justice and law. Harry Callahan knows the law. He knows what it means to be a good policeman, but he's fighting both sides of the law here. He's fighting a criminal, and he has to fight the law too. We start off this film with the Scorpio Killer killing a woman in a swimming pool. Then we're introduced to Harry Callahan as he becomes the lead investigator. Then fast forward to the next scene, we get this great epic moment to really show how Harry Callahan takes care of business and what he's all about, where there's this shootout. Then we get that famous piece of dialogue that Clint Eastwood delivers that we all know.
But Ian, this is a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world, and would blow your head clean off. You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Now, personally, when I was watching this, I always felt like this scene in the shootout should have been the opening of the movie. I felt like this should have been the opening of the movie, and then we should have went to the Scorpio Killer killing the lady, and then having Harry brought into the mayor's office, and we all know that scene too. Not a big deal. It still works either way, but I always feel like to introduce your character, the first time you introduce him, I think that would have been a better way to handle it. But that's neither here or there, though. But it's still a cool scene. and really establishes what Harry Callahan is all about. And Harry Callahan is this no-nonsense cop, and he's tough as nails. He does things his way, even if that means bending the law a bit. Like just getting the killer, getting the criminals off the streets. And this killer Scorpio, he knows the system. Even though he's a psychopath, even though he's freaking crazy, he knows he has rights, and he uses this to an advantage by bringing along Harry Callahan on these cat and mouse games through this whole thing. And the mayor and the city, they don't want to take these chances. They want to give this terrorist, this killer, they want to give him what he wants because they don't want to take the chance of him killing anybody else. And Harry Callahan's way of thinking, you don't bargain with these people because he's just going to kill anyway. A big turning point in this movie is that Harry guns down the Scorpio killer, but they have to let him go after because it was an illegal search, and there ends up being this, well, Harry says, well, there was a woman dying. There was no time for warrants or doing things by the book and all this stuff. And so the Scorpio killer gets to walk free. And this is just what this is the questions this movie really asks. This is the interesting part for me is this blurred line between justice and law. Is the law protecting the people it needs to be protected? Does it have the innocent people at their best interest? Because everyone has their rights. Even this psychopathic killer, even though he knows the system, even though he's crazy, even though Harry knows he's going to do it again, does the law have the right people's interests at heart? And this is what frustrates Harry Callahan until he gets sick and tired of playing these games, and he tells the police force, you get someone else to be your little delivery boy.
But it's inadmissible as evidence.
And who says that?
It's the law.
Well, then the law is crazy.
And at the end of the movie, the Scorpio killer, he hijacks a bunch of kids who are on a school bus. And the balls they had, this scene is actually really tense too, where he's slapping kids around. He's making them sing, row, row, row your boat. He's slapping the kids around. And, this is where Harry decides that this guy needs to go out in cold blood, essentially taking the law into his own hands, even though it will cost him his shield, and delivering true justice. Big interesting themes for the time this movie come out, and you know what, I would say still relevant to today. So yeah, absolutely great themes in this movie. I also love the mystique that Clint Eastwood brings to this role. The director Don Siegel, absolutely, really good casting with Clint Eastwood, because he has this mystery to him that really suits this character. The only thing I wish is that I wish we could have went back into his past a bit, because he did have a wife that died, just to bring out more, get to know this character a bit more. But I haven't seen the rest of the sequels yet, so maybe they do that. I don't know. He's got a bit of a humor to him. I love this rooftop scene where they're trying to lure the Scorpio killer, and Harry sees this naked girl as he sees her from an apartment across the street. And he's like, oh, Harry, you got to live a little. Great line by Clint. One thing I really like, though, is the famous "Make my day, do you feel lucky" punk line. That whole sequence. Clint Eastwood's acting is great because at the beginning of the movie, it's just a random robber. He's playing with the guy. It's more like this real. He's doing it really fun. He's playing it really laughable and fun, and he kind of does this smirky smile after. But when he finally goes to kill the Scorpio killer, there's this vengeance and anger and hatred and frustration all at once that Clint brings. And he delivers it completely different, but it's so good when he goes, well, do you, punk? Do you feel lucky? It's a completely different performance. And I absolutely love it. And then he blows the Scorpio killer away. Kills him in cold blood.
Well, do you, punk?
The ending is confusing a bit because it really looks like that he's giving up his badge and he's leaving the police force because he just took a man's life in cold blood. But I think the original intention was that he's just frustrated. He's just frustrated and he just takes it out, throws it out with the police force. I think that could have been handled a little bit better. But either way, whatever you take from it, either he's frustrated or he leaves the police force. For me, it always felt like he was just he's leaving the police force because he just took a man his life in cold blood, and now that man's off the street, but he knows he'll never be a cop again. That's the way I kind of looked at it. But yeah, it's definitely a solid ending. This is a solid movie, guys. And for its time, it's really well paced. It's a really, really well paced action film for 1971. I mean, you could look at it as a slow burn now, but I mean, when that one scene is so great, when the Scorpio Killer's driving the bus up and you just see Harry Callahan on top of the bridge, and then he jumps off the bus and then he's holding on to the bus. Great little chase scene, you know, and then, you know, I've already talked about the end there where he ends up shooting the Scorpio Killer, but it's got some really good sequences in it. For 1971, it's very solid, man, very solid. So Dirty Harry is an old school action movie that still packs one mean punch. All right, guys, I'm going to give Dirty Harry a B+. It's badass, man. So if the action genre is your genre, then why not go all the way back and watch Dirty Harry as you get a gritty crime drama with one tough-as-nails character in Dirty Harry. All right, guys, thank you for joining me on this review, and thank you for tuning in to Backtrack Cinema. This was a lot of fun, and look for my Death Wish review coming up soon. Hit the subscribe button, comment down below what you think of this video, and what you think of Dirty Harry. I'd like to know all your thoughts on this movie, and I'll see you in the movies. Cheers.